Productions presents Module 3, Day 9, which is really not Day 9, but the key is now we're going to use inequalities to solve problems. So go ahead and buckle up, kids, as we start to dive into the world of what inequalities are and how we use them to solve problems. First thing I'm going to mention in this is that these are going to look very, very similar to equations. So if you remember, a while back we were doing problems where we had a box, then an x, plus a box equals a total. Well, what we're going to find is we're going to see the same thing in these problems that we're going to do. And the only thing that's going to be different is instead of an equal sign, we're going to look at other symbols. So I'm going to give you an example here, our opening example. And how we're going to do this is we're going to just look at the problem itself. And we're going to forget about this nonsense here. And this down here. And we're going to solve this just like we were doing before. So start with my boxes. X plus x equals total. Right? So, how much money can he save? All right. So we're going to let x equal number of weeks. All right. So if we read, 265.49 is your total. What's nice about these problems is that the largest number always ends up being this number here. He has $40 and he can save 38 a week. So the 38 goes with the x. The 40 goes in the extra spot. Solve this equation. Subtract 40. Subtract 40. We get 225.49, 38x. You shouldn't be surprised by what I'm doing here. Divide 38. Divide 38. So we got 225.49 divided by 38. And all of a sudden we get this x is equal to 5.93, so on. And what happens when this number doesn't get... Most of the problems that we worked on before, they came out fairly nicely. Okay, so here's what we have to consider. In these problems, our answer needs to be a whole number. So the question becomes, is this 5 or is this 6? Okay, so most of you, probably what you're going to do is you're going to see the 9 and you're going to round it and you're going to say 6. Which in this case actually ends up being the answer because of the fact that it has to be more. Because right now he needs to save 265.49. I'm going to use this word at least. Because he could save more than that if he wanted to. So he needs at least 265.49. All right. So when we look at review, we're going to take a look at our 4 inequality symbols. This word "at least" is going to be a big key. All right. So we're going to skip some pages here. So try to keep up as we move. So we're on page 54 currently. We are now at the top of page 55, and we're just going to look at these 4 inequality symbols. One of the nice things about live television. Okay, so page 55. Inequalities. They have 4. These are the big 4, and I hopefully, zoom in a little bit so you can see, hopefully they look familiar to you. This is the greater than. Okay, you could also say more than. This is the less than. This one is greater than or equal. Greater or equal. But a lot of the problems that you read won't give you that greater or equal. Won't say that. So what we're looking for really is at least. At least would be a greater than or equal to scenario. Okay, I can make at least $50. That means I can make $50 or I can make more than $50. Okay. Less than or equal to. Okay. This is at most. Or they might use the word no more than. So like if I have $20 in my pocket, the most I can spend is $20. All right? So the only difference in the problems that we're going to see and we're going to model is that instead of an equal sign, we're going to use one of these inequalities. And most of the time it's either greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. All right. So keep up. We're going to skip example number 1 on page 55. And we're going to go right to examples on page 56. So this video might be a little bit longer because I'm going to go ahead and do both of these problems. All right, so we start with our boxes. Okay, here's the thing we're going to leave. I'm going to leave this spot open for the time being. Okay, meaning that I'm not going to put a symbol there. I'm not going to put an equal sign there. That might be tough for some of us. All right, so we're going to read this. And it said, Connor went to the fair with $22.50 in his pocket. That would be his total. He bought a hot dog and a drink for $3.75 and spent the rest of his money on ride tickets, which were $1.25 each. So $1.25 goes here, $3.75 goes here. The question is, what is the inequality symbol? $22.50 in his pocket means that's the most he can spend. So this is going to be a less than or equal to scenario. So we end up with the inequality 125x plus 375 is less than or equal to 2250. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hold off on this because I think you guys are pretty good at solving it from here. You take your 375 off, divide by 125. I'll check your answer for that here in a minute. But we'll move on to the second one because this brings up something. Okay, there's that word, at most. So reading that word immediately, okay, if I'm making my boxes, at most is less than or equal to, just like the one up above. He can spend $50 on his sandwiches. Okay, inequality to show how many sandwiches can he buy. So my X is sandwiches. Sandwiches are $4.50 each, so $4.50 goes in that box, which means the 6 goes here. And I'm going to go ahead and solve this one because I want to show you what happens in this particular case. So subtract 6 from both sides. I get $4.50x equals 44. Actually, it's not equals. It's less than or equal to, but we'll forget about that for the time being. So I take 44, I divide it by 450, and then I get x has to be less than or equal to 9.77 repeats. Okay? Well, here's the thing. You can only buy whole sandwiches. Remember, these have to be whole numbers. The one up above comes out to a whole number. That's kind of why I skipped it. But this one has to be a whole number. So the question becomes 9 or is it 10? Now, if you round it, you're going to say 10. But here's the thing. It has to be less than 9.7. So this is not about rounding. This is about this. So the answer would be 9. Because if you buy 10 sandwiches, it's going to put you over the $50 that you have. Okay? So this concludes our video lesson for today. So for Sims Huff Productions, this is Mr. Sims signing off.